Testing, testing. One, two, three. Testing, testing, testing. Okay, I think we got the volume good enough. So hopefully, it shouldn't have to be too loud. We're going to get started here in just a moment. If anyone is joining me live tonight, say hello and let me know you can hear me okay. Sometimes we have people joining live, sometimes we don't, and that's totally okay. You can always catch the replay in the guide section. All right, I think we're looking good. I'm going to go ahead and get started. Hello, my Life with Crypto brothers and sisters. Welcome to another Money Monday crypto training. I'm your host, Kelly Sunshall, and today I want to talk about my 5-step plan for crypto success. So I'm going to go ahead and jump in and get started. I see we have a couple of viewers. Say hi and let me know that the volume sounds okay. That would be awesome. So, I jotted these down and I want to go over them. There's not a lot of detail, but I think you're going to appreciate how I've outlined this. So the first thing you want to do in my 5-step plan is to determine your investment goals. Hey, Dale, thanks for joining. It may seem simple, but this is so important, is to decide what do you want to accomplish. And you want to make sure that your goals are reasonable. You want to make sure you write them down, and you want to know that, write down how you know you will have achieved them. In other words, how will you recognize that you've achieved success? So these are very, very important. I've talked to so many people over the years, and I've had some folks say they want to make $100,000 a month in crypto. And yet when I ask them how much capital they have to start with, they say they have $500. And that's just not a reasonable investment goal. So write them down, be reasonable. All right, number 2, what is your investing style? How are you going to find that out? Well, you just either know or you join the Let's Crypto program, and I have a training that will walk you through figuring it out, or you can do some searching on the internet to try to figure out based on information you can get from brokerage firms like Schwab and all that. They'll have some tests you can take, but you've got to determine your investing style. Is your risk profile low, medium, or high? What is your time horizon for needing cash? Do you need it right now? Do you need it in a year? Do you need it in 5 years? Or do you need it in 20 years or longer? How much effort do you want to spend on crypto tasks? This is an important one because playing with crypto takes time. And it takes focus and it takes effort. So you got to figure out whether you want to put all that time and effort into it. And if you don't want to put much time and effort, that doesn't mean you shouldn't get involved with crypto. It just means you've got to identify which kinds of strategies fit your style. You also need to figure out how much money do you have to start. You know, when I first got started, I didn't have a lot of cash. I was running a business. It was a very tight budget. So I spent like $250 at a time, and I gradually eased into it. You know, I went from $250 at a time to $500. And it was a little less than once a month, like every couple of weeks or so in the beginning. And then I kept gradually, as I had more money, I gradually added more. So how much money do you have to start? You may have $10,000 to start. I've talked to people who do. So figure that out and make sure you don't spend the money you need to live on. Keep that set aside. All right, let's go on to number 3. Choose your crypto investor type. Now, this is different from figuring out what kind of things you might want to do in the stock market, let's say, or in the TradFi world, as we call it, the traditional finance world. In crypto, you got to identify, what do you like to do? And the 3 choices that I'm outlining here are DeFi, trader, or investor. So a DeFi person, that's a decentralized finance person. This is somebody who's into earning passive income through yield farming, through borrowing and lending, there's so many different kinds of strategies out there, but I'll just say that that's generally what DeFi is. And DeFi can be higher risk and it can be higher difficulty. Now, I will share that there are some DeFi strategies that are lower risk, but even though they're lower risk, they're still higher risk than some of the other strategies that are available. So if to be successful in DeFi, you really got to have some capital to start with. In other words, if you have to have some capital to earn with. So if DeFi is about passive income, you got to have some asset to start. So I say you need probably at least $5,000 to $10,000 to start and really be able to make any kind of measurable amounts in DeFi. If you've got less than that, that doesn't mean you shouldn't start or shouldn't try. It's just that that's from what I've seen, I think 5 to 10 is a good starting spot. I didn't have that much when I first started, but that doesn't mean that it's a different world now than when I first got in. So I'll just leave it at that. So the next one in our investor type, we've got DeFi was number 1, being a trader is number 2, and I consider trading as moderate to high risk, that it's moderately difficult. But of course, this is all somewhat generic because even within trading, you can have higher risk type trading and lower risk type trading. For example, leverage trading is much higher risk. That's why I say it's moderate to high risk. I don't do leverage trading, at least not at this point in time. So I say I'm down on the moderate side of things. And you can start trading with 1,000 to 5,000. I think that's good. You could start with a little bit less. But again, if you don't have any assets to start with, it's difficult to make much money. So what if you want to just be an investor? I call investing the buy and hold strategy. And I call that the low to moderate risk, which requires less difficulty, less tasks. And you could start with as little as $100. 100 to 500 is where I suggest is a minimum for starting out as an investor. You buy an asset, you buy a little Bitcoin, you buy a little bit of ETH, and you just buy and hold, and then you add more as you can. So that is step number 3. Number 4 is learn the 4 principles of each type. So if our 3 types are DeFi, trading, and investing, you should learn, in my opinion, the 4 principles of each type. And those 4 principles are: what is the mindset for that type? What are the best strategies in that type? That's why, I say there's these 3 different types, and within each type, there's even levels. So figure out the mindset for each type, figure out the strategy for it, all the strategies that are available for each type, and pick the ones that fit you best. Learn the technologies for each type, and then figure out how to implement them and determine, how much money you've made. So the 4 principles for each type. Number 5 is how will you celebrate your success? And this is the final step in my 5-step process. And it's the one that I think people don't think about or forget to think about. How will you celebrate your success? So once you've figured out how you'll recognize that you've achieved success, how are you going to celebrate it? You're going to take a trip. You're going to buy yourself something special. You're going to help someone you know. You're going to do something nice for yourself. Or if you're really thinking long term, maybe you start planning your legacy. And I have in my Let's Crypto program, I do have a course just on your legacy. What's it going to be? How are you going to get it started? So it's something you don't want to skip because it's the fun part. It's like after you've had dinner, you want to figure out what are you going to have for dessert. So number 5 is kind of like your dessert. So this is a shorter training today because we had a very, very long one last week. We just did a 3-hour training on last Thursday, which I did in place of the Monday training last week. And in that 3-hour training, I invited everybody that's on my mailing list, whether they're a member or not, and you got to experience what it's like to be on our calls and the kinds of information we share and we teach in the Let's Crypto program. If you're interested in checking those videos out, I made them available on YouTube. So you just go to my YouTube channel and look for the Money Monday playlist, and you'll find it in there. And I'll tell you what, to make it easy on you, I'll make sure I post the links to those in the comments of today's training. So that's all I have for today, but I'm going to scroll back to the top and I'm just going to quickly review the 5 steps. So step number 1, determine your investment goals, write them down. Thanks, John. Step number 2, determine what your investing style is. Is your risk profile low, medium, or high? How soon do you need the cash? Et cetera, et cetera. You can read through this and rewatch this video as many times as you need. Number 3, choose your crypto investor type. Are you a DeFi person? Are you interested in passive income? Are you a trader, which I call active income? Or are you an investor, which is a real long-term horizon? Number 4 is learn the 4 principles of each type of crypto investing, DeFi, trading, and investing. The 4 types: mindset, strategy, technology, and implementation. And then number 5 is dessert. How will you celebrate your success with yourself or with your family or whatever that looks like for you? So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you found some value in today's training. As always, please stay curious, keep learning, share your thoughts or questions in the comment sections. I love to see them and I love to answer them. So that's all I have for you tonight. See you next week. Bye for now.